It's still Williams, technically. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the Village of Sauk Village Committee meeting agenda for Tuesday, June 21st, 2016 at 7 p.m. Village Clerk, please call the roll.
Burgess.
Here.
Here. Myers. Here. Tate. Here. Washington. Here. Williams.
Here. The first item on the agenda, employee life insurance renewal. If you can please step up. Welcome back. Thank you. You're welcome.
So I understand there's some questions about the life insurance, and I think it's specifically on the voluntary life insurance, is that right?
Yes.
So if you go to the very last page of this document, that has the voluntary life. So the voluntary life is just an add-on to the basic life benefit. So it's strictly voluntary. The employees would pay for it. You buy it in increments of 10,000. You could buy, for example, the maximum you could buy as an employee would be 50,000, and it wouldn't be underwritten. Anything over 50,000 for an employee means that you can get a maximum of 300,000, but it would be underwritten. And then after it's underwritten, if you're accepted, then you'll be able to have that benefit. Underneath, I think there was a question about spouses. You can buy it in increments of 5,000 for the spouses. The guaranteed issue amount is 10,000 with a maximum on the spouse benefit of 150,000. And then there is a child benefit that's sold in increments of 1,000, and it's a guaranteed issue and maximum amount of 10,000.
Does anybody have any questions? Trustee Tate.
You were saying it has to be underwritten,
Yes.
and if approved, then they can have whatever that amount. What's involved or what's taken into consideration to consider whether or not it's underwritten?
So there's actually a blood test involved, and depending on, it's blood pressure, height, weight, they'll come out to your home or location at no cost to the employee. Blood drawn, checking for hypertension, that kind of thing, diabetes. So if that all comes out okay, then it would be approved individually. It's not approved as a group. So you could get approved and I could get declined.
Is it based on some scale? For instance, blood pressure, is that based on the scale, and if the person's below it or above it, that's a mark against them
Correct.
being approved?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And that starts at 50, anything above 50,000, right?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. And then the calculation is for farther down on the page. So depending upon your age, if you're an employee or spouse, these are the rates for an increment of 1,000. So, if you were going to be doing 50,000, you would have to calculate 50 off of these rates.
Trustee Myers.
You just said a little bit about
Trustee Myers, can you wait? Thank you.
you just said a little bit ago, employees was guaranteed 10,000. Here it says employees guaranteed issue amount of 50,000 now. Which is it 10,000 or is it 50,000? I
So
guarantee.
you can buy it in increments of
Right.
10,000.
Right.
It's guaranteed issue at 50,000.
Oh, okay.
The spouse is guaranteed issue at 10,000.
Any other questions? Trustee Myers, can you pass the mic back down, please?
How long does the employee have to wait for the underwriting or the approval before they're accepted or rejected?
Life insurance does take a little bit longer. I would say on an average, after you have the blood drawn and they come out to your home, it's anywhere from 30 to 60 days that you'd hear something back.
Okay. Could you just take a moment and walk me through it? I'm an employee and I decide to increase. So I call or send a letter to your company. What do I do?
So we would have an open, assurance would have an open enrollment for all of your, at the same time, your medical benefits, your ancillary benefits, and at that time, we would offer the voluntary benefits, and they would sign up for the voluntary benefits. And then Standard, who's the insurance carrier, would contact the employee individually to set up for them to come on site, to do the blood draw, the height, the weight, and all that, if it's above that 50,000. And then that generally takes, 15 minutes to do, and then they would wait to hear back the results.
And that's approximately a 30-day wait period?
30-day wait period.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Trustee Burns?
I think it's almost all the way down. It says waiver of premium coverage doing, at 65, are you no longer covered? Is there no longer coverage?
So on the top, you'll see the scale, so employee age reduction. Of course, as you get older, the likelihood of dying gets greater. So what they do is at age 65, there's a reduction in the benefit by 65%. At age 70, it's a reduction of the benefit by 50%. And then at age 75, it's a reduction by 35%.
So that's 35% of the face value of the insurance?
Correct.
So the insurance will change after 65?
Correct. So this is a term life policy, unlike a whole life policy. A whole life policy, you die and you get the money back, or your estate gets the money back, or a portion of it. This is, think of it as owning a house and renting a house. This term life policy is like renting a house. So as you get older, you know that you're going to die, so they start reducing the benefits.
Can they that's pretty good. Can after you retire, is there a separate purchase, or will your rate stay the same, or you won't have, can you convert it over the whole life?
So even if you don't retire, you just leave here, it's what they call portable. And so they could the employee could take it with them if they're,
And pay the
35
same
years.
rate?
Correct.
Oh, pay the same, oh.
Pay the same rate.
Anyone else?
There is one other thing, there's a caveat. So if you do offer this, there needs to be 10 lives or 20% participation rate by Standard. So in order to get participation rate up, generally the vendor likes to come out here and explain the benefit, and that helps increase awareness, and then it helps increase participation.
And you must be talking about, because everyone has insurance now, correct?
Yeah, so the insurance they have right now is on the page before, the one we were just looking at. What we proposed was to move to Standard, and I think I understood this one got approved because the MetLife was 44%. So this one is at a flat $25,000.
The one we've been talking about is voluntary basis. This is if they want additional.
Correct. And then it would be the responsibility of the employee to pay, not the village.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other concerns or questions?
Can I ask one other question, because I wasn't here for the final vote? I understood everything got approved. I was unclear if you were staying with the vision with MetLife, or it was also moving to Standard. It's on page 3.
Leave it with Standard.
Yes, correct. So the rate is, to move to Standard is a little bit higher, but because of a convenience factor, I didn't know if you wanted just to bundle it all together for billing purposes. So it's approximately $322 higher annually to move to Standard on the vision, or you can remain as is with MetLife and have no increase.
I believe we stuck with MetLife because
Okay.
it was the no increase,
Yep.
but I can have, okay.
Okay, that would be great. And then everything else was moving to Standard, and the medical was staying the same, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes. But the village clerk will get that information to you.
Okay.
She's gonna go back and get it right now.
Oh, tell me right here.
Oh, you can,
Okay.
we can move on. she can get that information for you and announce it to the board, just so that we're all on the same page when she
Okay,
comes back.
thank you.
Item number 2, discussion of the retention detention pond. Trustee Jones?
Okay, I passed out to you just some brief, just an idea of something that I'm trying to do and some of the costs that could occur from that. It's very minimal, the price-wise, but safety-wise, I think is very great. We're looking at roughly around 200 feet circumference over around the pond. The highest one is the ever built, and that's on the bottom. And that's the snow fence, and that's wooden. And you would purchase the fences. It comes in 50-foot rolls, and each roll is $63.10. And that's like a total of $252.40. And that's the highest one. The cheapest one would be the Everbuilt. It's like a vinyl plastic, as you can see up top with the colors, the green or the orange or whatever. And for 200 feet, that'll come up to just $49.74. And that'll go all the way around it. And the price of the rods is, you probably would use every 10 feet, you would use a rod, and they're at $3.98, and that comes out to $79.60. So we're talking, I mean, under $200 to at least give a trial and see the benefits, or if not, if we don't do it, this is the price that, you know, that we come up with, and hopefully we could just at least, you know, give it a try and, you know, at least try to prevent something from happening. We could be having a very different conversation if the volunteer didn't see the child go in there just so quick. I mean, a 5-year-old, you know, went right in there face down, and we could be talking about a whole different story, but hopefully that doesn't happen again. It's left up to you all to think if it's a attraction or a detraction as far as children concerned, and all the, if we do decide to go along with it, try to talk to Kevin and see if he have any different add-ons or anything that would change. And that's if we decide to go forward with it.
Okay. I reached out to Kevin today and JW, and I heard back from Kevin, and I was asking him basically what we could do around the pond, if there was anything, if there was any recourse that we could take. Was it, I didn't know if there was maybe illegal to put something there because we don't have anything there, so I was kind of trying to figure out why there was not something there currently. And he did state that he wanted to give some information about it, that the detention pond is for temporary holding of stormwater to slowly be released into natural waterways. This detention pond has a problem with the pipe drain. The Public Works and Robinson Engineering are working on it. This may take a while because it involves Sigma and the village to see who is responsible for possible damage and repairs. We do check and the jet line, we do check that and the jet line to help lower any standing water after large storms. So he was explaining why the water was in there, but that wasn't really answering my question, so I did reach back out to him. And he says that he's not sure what the current plan is, but he does have orange fence and poles. So that is something that I know that we've used out here before plenty of times. So we do have several retention and detention ponds in Sauk Village. I don't know, and I haven't gotten back with him besides thanking him for the information. I don't know how much we have. I don't know if the direction of this board is to cover all of them. That's something that we need to look at, and something maybe Kevin can present to us. How many we have in the village, where are their locations, an approximation of how much material he has versus how much he would need. But we do have the materials out there, and I did say that I thought, and I'm just one person, but I thought that especially with the summer camp that we have going on there right now, we do know that area will be heavily trafficked by kids. It's something that I think should be done quickly. So I did pass that information on to JW and to Kevin as well. So we cannot take a vote, obviously, at this meeting, but if we would like to get a consensus, if this is a direction the board would like to go forward with as far as this location currently, because of the summer camp that's happening, I can send an email to JW and to Kevin and see if we can get that done this week.
I mean, we could have a understanding just by the conversation. I mean, if there's any questions, or if there isn't any questions, it kind of gives us that feel of, consensus or understanding.
If everybody if you're okay with it, Trustee Tate, I assume you are because you brought it up. Trustee Washington, are you? Trustee Myers?
Well, I think that, as Kevin said, as Kevin spoke of, let's try it. And it is holding water, whether it's a broken pipe or whether it's and I don't think we have that much rain yet. Tomorrow night may be different. But I think it's worth a try. But now I have to go with the older trustees. Money, can we pretty much all be in favor of it if it's going to deal with spending money? Or did Kevin say we have this in the yard, Kevin?
He does have some. I don't know how much material he has, and I don't know how, versus how much it would take to do that specific area. The thing that I think that we need to bring him back and discuss is how many detention or retention ponds we have in the village, what's the total square footage, and how much material he would have. But based on his conversation, he said he had the orange fencing and the poles, so I assume he means he's got enough material for what's back here. So currently, I don't think it would cost any money. It would just be the direction from this board to put it out there. And then if there's any costs that would be associated with getting more to cover all of the locations, then he can present that at the board table at the next board meeting. And the same thing, we could vote on it at a board meeting, or depending on the cost per the policy, it could be purchased, because this is one of those things that I think we're all kind of in agreement about, that this is something that should be done as soon as possible. So since we got the consensus, I'm going to email Kevin back and attach the mayor and the village administrator to see if we can get that done this week. Trustee Tate.
Do we know if the Director Willer plan on installing it himself, or will we have to get a contractor to come in and install it?
Public Works does that.
Okay.
I don't know if he will specifically do it himself, but the department does. Yeah, I know we had a barbecue. Sometimes they put it out for the corner dog roast and everything, that orange fencing that goes around, just so it's kind of a warning to everybody, don't go over here, this is hot coals, that kind of thing. So we've got the fencing. I don't know how much, but.
If it's what I saw before, it was kind of flimsy, sort of. And I don't know if it's would be strong enough. I don't know. As compared to go with one of these products, what's the strength and the preventive measures it provides from anyone falling in there, running in there?
Well, it is made of more of like a plastic material, and I think its purpose is to kind of be a visual block. Obviously, if it's plastic, if they wanted to get in there with a pair of scissors or something, they could cut it right through. But this is I think right now, it's a good idea to put it up as soon as possible, because it's something, and it's also a visual. And like Trustee Jones was saying, you've got the poles that go, every 10 feet, I guess is what you said, or however much, and that's gonna keep it together. And it does give some give, but you'd have to kind of really go through it to either knock the poles down or to cut through it. You'd have to really have some kind of sharp instrument for that to happen. Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. All it is too, maybe Kevin can bring maybe like a little piece of it when he comes so we can see, because if it's just that, what we've seen, that orange that goes around, it's only about this big. So is it from the ground up at least 4 feet or 5 feet or 6 feet?
I want to say it's about 4 feet. I mean, is it 5 feet?
Is it about 5 feet? Because that was one of the concerns that you had, that it would be tall enough to stop people from falling over the fence, falling to the water even. But this is made of wood. You said the ever built at the bottom, this is wood.
Yes,
And what about these?
it's the same material that we're talking about.
That, like that real flimsy material? Okay, so if he could let us know, you know, if he does have, it would be a cost-saving initiative to us if he has something that's equivalent to what Trustee Jones is showing us. But if not, I would like to even see us get something a little more sturdier than this. So it wouldn't be just for the summer camp, it would be ongoing. We would have it, you know, for a while, and it would last.
I can reach out to those three and explain that we would like, the board's direction is that we would like this to get done as soon as possible. But I would like to have Kevin come in and speak with the board about how many ponds we have, what's the square footage, if this is the plan to cover all of those, what that would entail. And then also, if there's any other materials that he thinks would be better for a more permanent solution, then we can discuss that at that time. But I think as of right now, let's just get this done. Trustee Burgess?
Yes, thank you. The reason that you wanted portable, so you can go in there, cut grass, anything that has to be done, you can just flip it off. You ever seen how it attaches to a pole? It's like a lip. It attaches and you keep going around. You can take it off in about 15 minutes. And I thought maybe by now they would have been able to cut that, but they cannot because the ground is still wet, so it must be a problem there. But it's only about 5 feet. It's a snow fence. If anyone ever saw a snow fence, it's made out of a plastic medium weight, not real heavy, but a medium weight plastic. But it is attached to the poles. The poles are metal, and you clip it in and you clip it back out. And because sometimes they may have to go in and do some work, and that's why you don't want to make it permanent. And I mean, this is something that, you know, I'm sure we could tell J.W. Fairman and the mayor that we'd like to see this. This shouldn't even be a budget problem or anything like that, because that doesn't fall on the Parks and Recs. It falls on the public buildings and grounds. So that's a separate budget altogether, and I'm sure they got poles. They may have to buy some more poles, but I don't think they have enough. I saw enough snow fence over there. So. But I think it's a great idea. I think something we should jump on as soon as possible and let them get back with us and see how long it would take for them to install it or when they can.
Once I get the email back from Kevin or whoever does reply, I'll just forward it out to the board. Trustee Washington?
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I just wanted to also add that I did observe the program when Ms. Denson had it last time. Once I was off from work, I work for the Board of Ed myself with children every day. And the key factor is the volunteers. As long as we can remind them, Trustee Jones, to put somebody stationed over there when those children are outside over in that area to make sure they know, no, go back. Because even on the playground when we're at work, you can call kids and they'll keep running backwards into danger. Like, stop. They laughing. They keep playing. So to just have the fence there or to know that it's coming, if the camp is ongoing until we get something in place, if they could put some volunteers over there, like maybe 1 or 2 in that area in a chair. I don't know how old our volunteers are. They can run after 5-year-olds. I got grandkids. They run fast. Nevertheless, if they sit there, they can tell them when they start coming that way, nope, go back, turn around. You know what I'm saying? If we could put somebody there until we can get some kind of temporary fencing up.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's just a deterrent. It's not going to prevent you from climbing it. It's not going to prevent, I mean, it's just meant to warn you.
Exactly.
That's all it is there for. I mean, it gives you time to a small child. He's got to do something, or she got to do something in order to get over there. That gives you enough time to observe and see what's happening, and instead of just straight into it. So it's not meant to, I mean, it's not going to hold horses back or nothing. It's just there as a a circumference. It's like a warning sign all the way around. And that's it. I mean, it's flimsy, but it's there for just that purpose, just to warn you that you're going somewhere you shouldn't be going, and that's it.
Okay. Trustee Myers? 12. I was thinking 12 or 13, but I'm not sure, and I don't know the exact locations or the approximate square footage, so I'm going to ask that Public Works be able to provide that information to us. Anything else on this topic? Okay. Yeah, she wanted to come back up.
So in regards to the vision, it sounds like you voted on it, but then as I was sitting down here looking, I think the rates that I have.
Can you use the mic? Please?
Yeah, the rates that I have are the voluntary vision, which tends to be higher. So I think we sent over to Mohan the contributory, which is what you're set up currently. So I'm sorry for the confusion. I can go back to the office and verify that indeed the vision is lower. And if it's, if I'm mistaken, then I'll let you know. But I think that's why it was approved, because of that reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
The standard.
The standard, yeah.
The question was, are you guys planning on having a meeting to explain the changes to the employees? Is that something we could set up?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the past, we've set up kind of the different shifts to accommodate the police, you know, and they're coming them off. So generally, we like to do it a month prior to, you know, the effective date. So keep in mind the effective date is 7/1. We certainly can do it after, but it does cut it a little bit close, because you end up having next week is actually probably a good week to have it. The following week, then you go into a lot of people on vacation because of 4th of July and stuff.
Yeah, if it's something that you guys can set up
Yeah.
throughout next week, I
Yep.
think let's try to get it done before the date of the actual start date,
Okay.
just in case there are any changes. But I mean, if we don't have a huge employee base, so you know, we should be able to, if you offer the different changes, people who are going to want to come are going to come.
Right.
You know, I know you guys are usually pretty good about.
So with the
Staggered
ancillary
times.
too, we just, we would give you all a spreadsheet, and we would have you make the assumption that everyone's going to enroll the same, except of course the voluntary life would be a new benefit. And employees can come to that meeting if they wanted to add or drop people, but otherwise what we can do is communicate, if you aren't making any changes, then you don't need to do anything.
Right.
However, this voluntary life product will be offered, which hasn't been offered in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there, like, a lot of times people have a enrollment period. Is this the enrollment period?
This is the open enrollment period.
For how long is it?
You generally have it 30 days prior to 7/1, just
Oh.
because the decision was late. You know, you can make an exception and go past the 7/1 effective date.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will then you be reaching out to JW? Well, you're going to reach out to Mohan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay? That's normally
sure.
what we've done in
Go
the
for
past?
it.
Okay. To set the meetings up then.
Yes. Any other questions? No? Okay,
All
thank
right,
you so
thank
much.
you.
Okay, item number 4, an ordinance adopting the prevailing wage standards in the Village of Sauk Village. I know that you guys in your packet should have gotten the ordinance from the law firm, the memo from the law firm, and many, many pages of prevailing wage for July 2015. This is something that we kind of just have to, it's standard, we have to do it every year, we have to pass it. And I'm assuming that this is, since it's going to be, since it's going to start July 1st, I'm assuming this would be something that is looking to be on the agenda for next week, correct? Okay. Trustee Myers. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I guess you could pull that one down.
Being a union body, we're in negotiation with them now. They will also have to act by this, correct?
Yes. Once we pass this as an ordinance,
I got one shaking head no, one saying yes.
once we pass this by ordinance, this is something that we have to go forward with. I know we're in contract negotiations right now, but this would be, just like with any
This
ordinance.
is state statute, governed by that, right?
Well, just like any other ordinance, once we pass any ordinance in the village, it becomes the law of the land. Trustee Burgess.
If you look at page 3
Are you talking about the ordinance?
of
or are you
the
talking
ordinance, yes, I'm sorry, look at page 3, section 4. That answers your question that you asked about the public works.
Public works.
About, we're in contracts with them too.
Right.
So this does not apply to the prevailing rate of wages as herein ascertained to any work or employment except public works of the village of Sauk Village. In other words, the prevailing rate, if we're in contract, if we're not up to prevailing rate for public works, we're not empowered to do that because we're in negotiations with them. But anyone that does work in the village that's hired, they must use prevailing wage, but not your employees of public works. That's what this, you asked the question, do we have to stay with there? If that's the case, then you wouldn't even have to ask for a raise, because prevailing rate would automatically dictate how much you can or cannot raise. So that's why I guess the lawyers put that in there, so it wouldn't kind of make you give them a raise.
Always
If
told
they
me
would.
to follow the state statute.
You can't make, okay,
Yeah.
if you say that you can't afford a raise, but prevailing rate says that you must pay them X amount, then what are you gonna do? If you say that you can't afford X amount,
Yeah.
so either you're gonna lay somebody off or you got to pay. So that's why they put this in here, except for public works, which is a prevailing wage out there in the community. Yes, yes.
So can you use your mic, Trustee Myers? We got some people who aren't able to hear you. Thank you.
Basically, because they're a union, I take it. Yeah, all right, thank you.
I didn't hear that, but okay. But yeah, that's what you would have to do. I mean, that's all that is, and which makes sense because you can't dictate the town how much you can and cannot pay. But the wage, if you go out of your, I guess your people, that your employees, and you hire someone in to do something, then yes, you have to pay a prevailing wage.
Anybody else? Okay, and like I said, as it says in their memo, they're looking that this is going to be starting July 1st, so this would be something that would be on the agenda to be voted on for next week. And I would encourage anybody who does, after reading through everything, if you do have any questions or concerns, I would suggest that you reach out to the mayor, to JW, or to the attorneys to get your answers.
Just a general question. On all the ordinance that we get to review, at the top of it, it's not identified. Is there a reason that's not identified?
Do you
The
mean-
ordinance number is blank.
Oh, because it's based upon when it's actually voted upon and where it falls in the cycle. As far as, they're all numbered, so it'd be based upon, you know, the date that we approve it and where it falls. Like you have, for instance, on the agenda, multiple ordinances. So it would be based upon, like, if this one was voted for first versus the other one, and this is a draft copy, so there's not going to be an ordinance number until it's an actual. Something that we did talk about before, though, which I thought you were going to ask about, is that doesn't say draft. And I know that.
Can I answer that?
Sure.
There's several ordinances on the agenda that may or may not be approved. To pre-number them, then I would be having an ordinance number outstanding that an ordinance to get approved. Until the board approves the ordinance, I do not assign a number.
That's what I was trying to say, but she made it sound more. She made it sound better. But.
Make sure it's understood.
Because that's what I was trying to say. We've got multiple ordinances. Some may not be passed, some may be passed, so they're not assigned a number until they're passed.
What about draft?
Yeah.
Every document that you receive at a committee meeting is a draft document. A document is not official until it's been approved by the board. An ordinance, a resolution, a contract, or anything like that, anything you receive during the committee is subject to change. If the board looks at something and they want to change something, they're welcome to do that. And the documents are, there's no changes to any documents unless the board requires changes.
So it would be safe to assume that if, especially in like an ordinance situation, we should understand that it's a draft because there's no ordinance number. Once it becomes official, it's been voted upon, then we know that it's going into law, it gets assigned a number, and then that's when it becomes an actual living document versus a draft.
It would apply to minutes, it would apply to ordinances, resolutions, any document that you receive at committee meetings is subject to change per board discussion. Otherwise, it's considered a draft document.
Okay,
Once the board approves it, it's a final document. The ordinance will then receive it or resolution.
okay.
So, just to be clear for me, if you look at the agenda, item 6, if those 2 sections were approved, then those identifying numbers change?
No, no. The ordinance at number 6 for, give me the mic before I
Okay, in the case of item number 6, it refers to section 74.333 and section 74.338 of the Division 2 of Article 11 and of Chapter 74. The ordinance amends those sections. That ordinance will receive a number. What's previously in the code book does not change, it's amended. Those things remain the same. For whatever ordinance created those sections remains the same. This is an amendment to those ordinances. If you look at your code book, underneath all of these sections, you'll see several times, if this was amended more than once, you'll see the date it was amended and the ordinance number that refers to the original amendment, or the original ordinance, and then subsequent amendments. In this case, when the code book is finally updated, again, you will see a new ordinance number stating that what you see up here has actually been amended by this ordinance. Does that make that clear?
Mhm. Any other questions? All right, moving to item 5. Trustee Myers approached me earlier today, and I will yield the floor to you, sir.
All right. These ordinances have been around, we've been talking about it, met with the police chief, he's all set, attorneys looked at them, I'll review them. But tonight, the police chief is not here, and he specifically wanted to explain to the trustees a couple items in the ordinances that there was change. And he wanted to point out in all of them, there's items in it that has been changed by Illinois compliant statute and stuff. He would like to explain it. Unfortunately, he could not be here tonight. Like, I have a couple of questions just on the part-time one, and once again, he's not here to answer a question. I would like to table it until the police chief can be present, answer all our questions.
Okay. So, just to be clear, that's item number 5, 6, and 7. The police chief asked if we could hold off on talking about those till he's here to explain some things and to answer our questions. So I would assume the mayor and the village clerk could reach out with him and see. I would assume this would be on the next committee meeting agenda, so we can discuss it.
And Madam Chairperson, I urge each one of the trustees to look at these real close. And I found several items in here that I know concerns me, so I think you guys will find some too. But please look at them and be prepared to ask the chief. Thank you.
Okay, item number 8, public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the chair. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment on topics of their choice. Each speaker will be allowed 1 opportunity to speak. I will be forwarding all questions to the mayor, which he may answer upon his return.
Jan Clark, Sauk Village. Item number 2. My question is there a fee due for the insurance prior to July 1st that will reflect a new commitment amount? I mean, is this an annual fee you pay for this insurance? Or I imagine it's a monthly because there's dividends or payments that there's more money due at the time the policy becomes effective. Does anybody know anything about that? Okay, is the bill normally due the first of the month?
Are those all your questions?
No.
Oh, keep on going.
That's number one.
Okay.
Okay, on item number 3, I don't know, you said that there were possibly 15 retention ponds? Am I right there?
12 or
You thought
13.
Okay, around that. I would suggest, if at all, mandatorily do the ones that are like next to the parks. I know when I was young, we used to try and ice skate down the one on 223rd Street. Too. Not much of a fun day, but we used to try. But especially the retention pond here, because it is a park. It is between buildings that are used daily. It is open to the public just like the other parks. Okay, so I don't know how many of them are near the parks, but if you ask Kevin to get you the circumference or the diameter of, you know, all of these in, plus all his other work, it may take him more time unless you start with, let's check these out first. Okay, that's my only suggestion. But one more thing about ordinances when they come up like this. You guys are elected for a reason, because you get them in advance, you have a copy of them in front of you. The audience does not, unless they look up on their computers or come to the village hall or library and look up what the ordinances are going to be, and then find out what's, you know, how do we know what's going to change? How do we know what the ordinance actually is? Are they so long that they can't be like number 5, an ordinance amending the village code to add section 42 through 28 part-time police officers? Now, it says part-time police officers, but does that mean, what does that mean to me unless I know what it already says? Me as an audience participant.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. Just to answer your questions, I will definitely pass on your suggestion about the about item number 3 around the parks and the playgrounds. As far as number 2 goes, I'm not aware of a fee, but I will pass that on to you. And since Mohan is the person who is coordinating the efforts with the insurance company, I will ask that he get back to you about that to see as far as if there's a fee or anything. And there is.
But, honey, I'm sorry. By fee, I mean the rate. If there's a rate increase, is that going to be due before the board meets again to cut a check? That's what I was, not a fee like, okay, $500, but is there a rate increase for this next coming year? And is that going to be due by July 1st?
I will have Mohan forward all that information to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Brewer, on behalf of the Sauk Citizen for Public Awareness, I commend you guys for agreeing on something and getting that fence around that pond. We asked for that fence back in June of 2015, I do believe. It's real hazardous to the kids, and there's a lot of them out there. I don't care how many volunteers you got, those 4 and 5-year-olds are pretty fast. So I commend all of you guys for doing it. And also, Rosie, I want to give you another thank you. Every time you come here, it's such a nice rerun meeting. I'm telling you, it's really great. But anyway, I'm going to present my same question I've been asking for the last 2 months. Every time I ask this question, the mayor talks around it, over it, under it, and never gives us a question about it. So my question is, and put it down again, he indicated that residents were responsible for $10.50 for 1,000 gallons of water. There was no ordinance, since you guys are talking about ordinance, that even said anything about $10.50. I would like to know where he's getting his information from. In response to a FOIA request, even the employees don't know anything about the $10.50. So I'd like to know and get a supporting document. It might be, I don't come to all the meetings, I might miss one or two, who might know something I don't know. I just like to see a copy of somewhere where it says residents had to pay $10.50. Again, ordinance 12-014, the last increase we got was back in February 2013, it went up to $7.50. And that ordinance specifically said that the rate was going up for repair and maintenance of the infrastructure. I'd like to know, since we haven't gotten any repairs and replacement of infrastructure, no clean water or anything else, I still like to know why are we paying the $7.50 so we're not getting what we're paying for. My second question is that the mayor also indicated that he had a $825,000 loan. The loan was reduced, the EPA loan was reduced to $825,000. He said he had supporting documents and that was going to go on the website. Today, I have not seen the documents. I'd like to know where he's getting all this information from, and I'd like a written document on it. And again, if our loan has been reduced to $7.25, I mean to $8,025, why are we still paying for it? Because we should have paid that off by now. We'd like to know why are we paying all this extra money for the stuff we're not getting. And he has not answered that question. He talks around it, under and everything. Our water fees are high, and we're not getting anything for our money. We're not getting any infrastructure improvement. The water's still terrible. And getting people from back here. But anyway, that's my point. So
I will pass it on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Ed Shankel, I'm having some problems with this fence around the ponds and things over here in the park. It's pretty gaudy looking. The board just last week voted down safety for the whole village by not putting the bike path in to get the people off the street. But the board decided to vote against that. Now you want to put a fence around the pond over there. You can't get the equipment in to take care of it, so on and so forth. It's going to look really terrible. It's perpetual money to maintain that, just to put the fence up, take it down, put it up, take it down. What's wrong with the parents? When are they going to take ownership of their children and say, little Johnny, stay out of it? Done. Done. If that ain't the case, let's get a little, it's going to cost me money to put the fence up?
No, it's not.
If you catch your little darling out there, put a fine on it. It'll help pay for a fence. That'll also put the word out, hey, they mean business, stay out of the pond. We need to do something like that. You're gonna turn around and raise my taxes? Let's make the people that are breaking the laws, fix it. That's where we're at. Along with littering, let's worry about the littering. That's filth. I got people going on my street throwing diapers out here. That's human waste. Let's stop that. Let's find a way. Wrong with parks. Over in Deer Creek, the last time I saw that park, it's pathetic. When are we going to put a fence around that? I want to know when that.
Audience, can we?
Excuse me,
Mr. Schenkel, can you address Mr. Schenkel, can you address the chair, please?
People are.
I understand that, but can you please address an audience? Can we please give some respect?
I'd like to have a board look at the idea also that Deer Creek having their pond over there that needs a fence around that.
Okay.
I don't care who owns that. It's Sauk Village. Put a fence around it. Simple as that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Probably looks better than your house, though.
Anybody else? Hello.
Linda Ross, I can ask any question, right?
Yes.
Okay. When it comes to licensing business, does anyone actually look into what the people are actually going to do before they get them a license? The reason why I'm saying that is because I have an issue with two businesses we have here in Sauk, and I've had this issue for some time. The, I guess it's called the beauty supply store. They recently opened over there where Best Hardware was. You know, it's nice. It's a nice store. The products are nice, but the advertisement in the window, in my opinion, is pornography. And I don't think it's appropriate for your town. And people need to look at that. I don't want to go in any business and look at somebody's behind. I mean, you know, you talk about the children walking down the streets with their pants hanging down. Here you got business people advertising apparel. No one should have to walk in the store. And I said something to them. And they told me, well, you know, it's the preference of the individual. But there's no way they're going to take that merchandise and put it on a mannequin in Chinatown or anywhere else. So why you allow them to bring it in Sauk Village? Go in there and look. When you walk through the register, go out the door, all you see is this fishnet outfit on a mannequin, and you see everything. So, you know, somebody in Sauk Village is going to buy it, and they're going to walk down the street in it. I think that's inappropriate attire, and it should, to me, it's X-rated, and it shouldn't be, I'm not saying it shouldn't sell it, it shouldn't be on display. So you need to look at that. And another thing, I had spoke to the owner in the liquor store, Buddy's. I don't know if they're licensed for pornography also, but they used to, when they first came in here, because I went in there personally and talked to them, behind the counter, they have pornography. Now when you go in there, they have it covered. So I don't know who's doing the licensing, but you know, you want to keep your town home, family. This is a family town. I'm not into pornography. I know. To me, that's personal. It should be in somebody's personal home. But when you give it to businesses, that's another thing, because now it's affecting everybody. So just pay attention when you go into these stores. Because I said, are you a license for this? This is when they first opened up. And they just looked at me. So now I go in there and look, and just put you to the library account. The magazines are there, but they're covered. That's pornography. You know, Chicago will take it down. So those two things I know is standing out there. You know, we should be more careful when we give our business licenses and monitor them. And once we give them a license, if they don't, you know, just don't leave them to be. Periodically do what we call in the federal, you know, spot checks. Just do shopping. And you know, if that's your program, you know, you just go shopping. Or you consider shopping. You know what shoppers are. Somebody who just observe it and bring it back the good, the bad, of the different. You know, thank you. That's all I have.
The business licenses are issued from the code department, and I don't know, once a business has the commercial license, I don't know what the regulations are about the topics that you just brought up. I'll talk to Sherry about that and let the mayor know and JW know that I'm going to ask Sherry about that and see that if one of them can get back to you, because I don't know if what they're doing is violating anything, and if it is, thank you for bringing it to our attention, and you know, obviously we will try to enforce it to rectify that situation, and if not, it is something that maybe they need to be aware of anyway to see, because like you said, you know, if it's not against regulations to sell it, great, but maybe not put it in the window. So I will pass it along to Sherry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's wait until, I think we're almost done. No, we can go. Anyone else? Okay. Item number 9, comments from the trustees. Trustee Burgess. Sorry.
A few things. First of all, I'd like to, Madam Clerk, to put on the agenda for next meeting, executive session for personnel. Reason for it, the mayor's not here. It doesn't make sense to ask the same question to the trustees. Only the mayor and the village administrator could probably answer this question. So could you? The next board meeting next week for personnel. And I'll just refer those questions to that time. It's not a reason to say anything now, because Madam Pro Tem, you can't answer the questions, and it doesn't make sense to go back and forth, but that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. I'll go next. The Community Outreach Partnership Committee met today to discuss National Night Out. And just again, any committees, any community organizations or anything that would like to set up a booth, especially any committees looking for volunteers or anything, please let myself or the village clerk know so we can make sure that we have adequate space. And one of the things, and like we've talked about before, is Community Outreach Partnership is working also on the 60th anniversary committee and planning for that for next year. And one of the fundraisers that we came up with tonight is something that we wanted to approach the board with. And I don't know if any of you on this board are big Food Network fans, but it was a suggestion to do, we were talking about a cook-off or something like that, and we decided to do a form of Chopped. And basically for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's a show where each contestant gets a basket of foods that don't normally go together, and then they have an allotted amount of time, and they have like an entree, an appetizer, dessert, something of a type of food that in that allotted amount of time they have to create. So what we were thinking is to have the board be the Chopped contestants. And anybody on this board who would like to participate, if you guys could let us know, we'd like to do this during National Night Out. And the committee will come up with, hopefully not 2 random items, because I don't know what I would do with like squid and peanut butter. So something that would kind of go together. And then anybody who would like to participate, let us know. And we are hoping to reach out to some of our local representatives, local congresspeople to be our judges, and we would like to kind of, as a way to get the board involved in National Night Out. So if anybody on the board, any of the board of trustees would like to participate, we're also going to open this up to the mayor and the village administrator. So if anybody would like to participate, please let me know when you've made that decision. We want to give the board or the committee enough time to properly prepare as far as ingredients and things like that. There will also be an opportunity for the audience to participate as far as each candidate who will be participating will have a voting receptacle, as it were, and we're planning as a fundraiser for the 60th anniversary. It would be 50 cents a vote. You can, think who you think will win, and then if your name is chosen for the ticket, if Trustee Myers was the winner and you would put your ticket in his bucket and your name was pulled, we would split the pot with you. 50% of it would go to the 60th anniversary, 50% would go to you. So again, trustees, it's something to think about. If you guys could let us know, we're kind of excited about it. I know I will be participating in that. And that's all we have for right now. Trustee Tate?
A side note that the Housing Committee and the IGRC Committee will meet on the 30th of June.
Where?
Here at Village Hall, 6:30.
3rd of June. 30th of June. 30th of June. I thought maybe you meant July.
The camp this is the 2nd week of the summer camp, and it's been going pretty smooth. Well, yeah, relatively smooth. I shouldn't have said that, knock on wood. But, and it's expanding. As of Monday, there will be breakfast and lunch from age 0 to 18 for any resident that comes up there in between the times of 9 and 10 for breakfast and from the time of 12 to 1 for lunch. That's not just for the camp, that's as for a lot of students, a lot of kids, once they leave school, they're missing a lot of their meals. A lot of kids are, they're not getting the meals from home that they get during the school week. So this is another way to help provide some of the meals for the kids. So starting Monday, if you know a kid that needs a lunch or a breakfast, please send them to the community center.
How long was that?
To the end of to the 19th. 19th.
Do you have that in writing? Register them, or can kids just walk in off the street?
No pre-registration.
There's no allergy problem, there's no, they can just walk off the street?
Yes.
Okay, do you have something in writing on the
It's like a flyer.
I have to get some for it right now. 12 or 1. It's an hour.
Can kids still register for the camp?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Somebody asked me about that yesterday.
Anytime between 8:30 and 2:30.
Okay.
Monday through Friday.
Is it, residents only, or?
In between 0 and 18.
I mean, do they have to be a resident?
In between 0 and 18. It's just the same as the summer camp. You don't have to be a resident of Sauk Village to join the summer camp. As long as you're in Cook County.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
I'll give her two. Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. That is a state program. My district is doing it as well. Anybody in the community, if you're 18 and under, you can come and eat. The entire family can come and eat for free, breakfast and lunch. I also was at the school board meeting for Sauk Village School District 168 last night, and they announced it there too. You can go to the school and you can have, for summer school at Rickover, I think, are they doing summer school at Charlesburg? Whatever one of the schools they are hosting summer school at in Sauk Village, anyone in the community can go to that school and have free breakfast and free lunch. We're doing it in Harvey, they're doing it all over the state. It's a state program that's being provided. Our lunch is free in Cook County for the most part too as well, so it's a part of that program. To answer your question, you don't have to show any ID. Anybody can come and eat if they're 18 and under for free, breakfast and lunch. So it's good that we have that site at the community center because we're also doing it at the school for summer school residents. We have 2 breakfasts in Sauk Village and 2 lunches now. Also, I just wanted to talk about the parade a little bit. I was passing out flyers about the parade. I'm understanding a lot of the residents in the village don't know about the parade or the time or the lineup and don't know that there's going to be vendors once we conclude the parade in the park. Village clerk, I think you made a statement that the vendors are going to be free. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, just for the record. So I was letting some residents know they can get a table. The vendors are free this year. They have to register through you.
But they will be free.
But they will be free. So anybody that wants to get a vendor table, I've really been pushing so that people can come and, make it a day out there. So I don't know what's going on with the marquee. They still have an announcement up from the hydrant flushing on June the 7th, and this is June the 21st. So I'm just hoping that we can use the marquee, use the different various ways that we have to get the word out about different things that's going on in the village in regard to the camp with Parks and Recs, like this breakfast program. I know some people don't like to walk around and pass out flyers, but if you put them in the stores, on the counters, people go in those stores, they will pick them up. Also, I wanted to announce that Neighborhood Watch Committee, of course, is getting ready to host our second safety prevention for businesses in Sauk Village. For all of the businesses, the churches, the pastors, the school administrators, or anyone that's involved in education, we're going to be doing our second safety prevention for businesses. So if you know any businesses or churches or pastors and you're here, we have put the flyers on the table in the back and out in the foyer in the front. You can take them to your church or your school or any business that you know, as well as our book bag giveaway. If you know any families on your block, you see children out there that you think could use and benefit from getting 2 book bags per household, we're going to be doing this book bag giveaway of 500 book bags with supplies in conjunction with School District 168 at their back to school bash on August the 18th at Rickover in the gym, along with a safety rally with the 2 superintendents, Dr. Leak and Dr. Navarre, along with some other guests that's going to be there. And those flyers in the back, you can take the families on your block as well. I wanted to address the young lady that talked about the 2 businesses that had inappropriate material in the stores. I did notice that myself. As a matter of fact, I was in one of the establishments and I saw something that I felt was inappropriate. I had some young children with me, and there was some other teenagers in the store, and I just walked over to the owner. Like you say, it's their preference because it's their store. I don't know the parameters, what they can and cannot sell to that extent either. But I asked him, I say, I know it's your store and you can do what you want to do, but to have this magazine here with all of this nudity and you got these kids in here and they're looking through the glass, I can't tell you the movie, but I'm just asking if you could maybe cover it up until we leave out. And he did. He was like, oh, no problem, no problem. He was very, courteous to do that. He didn't have to, but I thank him that he did. So sometimes it's just a means of communicating with people. What you may find offensive, somebody else may find offensive, whether it's legal or illegal to do it or not. It's just your conscience. If it's something that offends someone, sometimes people there move according to that. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Trustee Myers?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I just have a couple things to cover. First off, what was it, last Thursday evening, about, I'll say about 6, 7 o'clock, my wife said she answered the telephone, and I answered the telephone, they said that this is IRS and you need to immediately contact this number, and otherwise we're going to be sending a summons for your husband to appear in court for back taxes. Oh. I talked to the police chief about it. It's a scam going on. Once you make that telephone call, they have your number on the phone, and don't give your Social Security up to nobody. And they can, excuse my expression, they can play hell with your economics and your finances once they get all that stuff. So be careful. There's a scam running out there now. I did talk to the police chief. We did turn it over to the state's attorneys, a few other people, and he's also turned it over to the FBI. Otherwise, don't forget about the parade. We have quite a few entries in it. I still haven't heard from some of the committees, and I still waiting on a couple trustees. If you get too tied up and you don't get a chance to get me the entry plate, show up down there on July the 2nd at 1 o'clock, and we'll put you in the parade. Don't worry about it. It's going good. Now, if I've got about, like I said, about 25, 30, and about 15, 20 maybe phone calls. Well, the maybe phone calls come in to be good ones, and we have a pretty good parade. I'm trying to set up a ordinance review meeting in July. I will announce the date later. Don't forget that after the parade, we're going to have some vendors and stuff going on in the park back here in the back. So spend some time back here, enjoy yourself. Then Debbie, is there a chance that you can do an e-blast for me, one last e-blast for the parade? Okay. Okay. I appreciate that if you could.
Also, what's happening in Streets Blast.
Okay.
I'll make sure it's.
I know it's been out there once, twice, but once again, to all the residents and to the young adults in town, if you can't find an entry blank or don't remember my telephone number, which is blasted all over this town, but just come down here on July 2nd at 1 p.m. and I can help you fill the entry out and put you in the parade. We always make room. So far we got walkers. I still haven't heard anything back from the ROTC Bloom Trail. I plan to pay them a visit tomorrow. And let's see, we have horses, we have dogs. You name it, we got it. But once again, it's just going to be just a good day that everybody come out and join the show. And I appreciate it. Anybody see a neighbor or hear any kids talking about it, they want to be in the parade, tell them, come on down, talk to Mr. Myers. Don't worry, I'll get you a spot. We got a lot of roads that we power street people on, march them down. With that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Question.
Trustee Jones.
I've read about a certain town near Indianapolis, Indiana, and where we had the conversation last year about should we throw the candy or should we not throw the candy. I was just wondering, did we come up with something different? Because I know there's been a lot of communities since then that has banned the candy throwing.
We have tried that, and you know, we've tried it almost every year. I don't care if you do decide to throw it off the road. Because these small kids, they see something coming down there and it's all decorated, making a whole bunch of noise, and they toss candy out, and these little ones, they run out, and I don't want anybody to get hurt. So if you can't get it out off the road and can't get past it out, then don't throw it. Be careful. And I just want it off the road. I have no problem with people throwing it. I have no problem handing it out. Just make sure it does not get on the road for the vehicles. I know last year we tried it. Part of it didn't do it. Year before that we tried it and told everybody not to, and I think everybody did. But again, yes, you're right. There's a community actually is enforcing, because there's one down south. There's a young toddler got hit by a moving vehicle while they was tossing candy out. So they don't hear nothing, but they see the candy and they run out and they get it. So we're not here to get anybody hurt. We're here to have fun. So yes, you can throw candy, sir. Thank you.